Hello and welcome to Geek History Lesson. I'm Jason Suicidal Inman.
I am Ashley Victoria Robinson, and welcome to your Mind University, because you have stumbled onto the podcast where we take one character, construct, or suicidal team from popular culture and teach you everything you need to know about it in about an hour. And this time we are talking about the worst of the worst, or the best of the best, depending on where you come down on this side of the argument, the Suicide Squad.
Well, if you don't know, there's a little movie coming out with the same title.
Tiny little movie.
And so it's time to go to prison with the Suicide Squad.
That doesn't sound good.
It always sounds good. Ashley, I just want to let you know that this lesson was suggested by multiple listeners.
Ooh.
Suggested by Zach Denton, Beardo Mancer, David Zachary Liftig, Luftig.
He is a longtime fan.
And Dancing Nerd King. So there you go. You guys suggest the lesson. And don't forget, you can always suggest future lessons at facebook.com/geekhistorylesson or geekhistorylesson.com. But let's jump into the prison. Let's get ourselves locked up, because you need to know everything about the Suicide Squad before you see the movie. So Ashley, let's hop right into the podcast.
Yes, let's go right into our first section, which is the 10-cent origin, where Jason will lay down all of the factoids, creators, and affiliations in case you should go to a very dangerous cocktail party and someone says, hey, are you part of the Suicide Squad?
That's right. Now, Suicide Squad, of course, is published by DC Comics. Its first appearance, the original Suicide Squad, was in The Brave and the Bold number 25 in September of 1959. The modern Suicide Squad, which is what the movie is going to be based upon, first appeared in Legends number 3 in January of 1987, and I actually own that issue.
Do you really?
I do. The original Suicide Squad was created by Robert Knigler and Ross Andrew. And the modern Suicide Squad, of course, was created by John Ostrander, Len Wein, and John Byrne. Now, of course, their base has always been Belle Reve Prison, and their members have just been numerous. So, but Amanda Waller is generally the leader in most incarnations, although there's been a couple where she hasn't been the leader.
All right, and I assume we'll get more into that later.
We do. So, Ashley, let's hop into the meet cute for the Suicide Squad. I'm very curious, where have you met the Suicide Squad? Where's the first time you met the Suicide Squad?
Man, the first time I met the Suicide Squad, that's a really difficult question for me, because I have never read any of the Suicide Squad books. It might have been in the New 52.
Okay.
I think was the first time I'd ever heard of them.
Okay.
When
they had the title called Suicide Squad.
when they had the title called Suicide Squad. But like I said, I've never read them, so I might have come across it earlier than that. But that is my first major memory, was when that book launched, concurrent with the Katana book in 2011.
Wow.
I think so. Quite recent. I'm not a villains girl.
Okay.
All
right.
So that's why I'm going to blame my ignorance on that.
Okay.
Where did you first meet the Suicide Squad?
The first time that I had any idea what the Suicide Squad was back in the 90s. I bought this issue of Superboy 13. And it's the Kale series. It's when he still has his leather jacket and his really crazy 90s costume and his earring.
And his fade cut.
And the Suicide Squad, with Deadshot and Captain Boomerang, mostly classic team, show up in it. And I was very curious about who the hell is this guy with the eyepiece and the guns on his arms.
Oh, did you like the way that he looked?
I thought he had an interesting look. He looked kind of silly, though. He had like kind of an old look. But we will actually get to that adventure in this lesson.
Cool.
So let's jump right into the History 101 of the Suicide Squad.
The main meat of the lesson, where Professor Jason will throw down everything that you need to know about the Suicide Squad.
That's right. All right, here we go. Now, note that there have been several incarnations of this team, and I'm only going to touch on the ones that I think really matter, the ones that I think that are the most iconic and classic.
And will most help you appreciate the movie coming out.
Exactly. Now, the original Suicide Squad was a group called the Suicide Squadron in World War II, and they were led by Rick Flag, the original. Actually, Rick Flag Sr., as he's now being called.
Wow, I didn't know they were that old.
Now, the second group, Suicide Squad, were actually high-profile monster hunters led by Rick Flag Jr.
Okay.
Yep. And Amanda Waller reactivated this program during Legends as the team of imprisoned superhero criminals. So That's a basic overview of the Suicide Squad. Now I'm going to go back to World War II and tell you about that Suicide Squad team.
Okay.
Now, again, I said the original Suicide Squad was a group of soldiers during World War II.
Yes.
They were originally sent to Dinosaur Island in a campaign called The War That Time Forgot. Actually, what is Dinosaur Island?
Dinosaur Island is exactly what it sounds like.
It's an island with dinosaurs.
Yep.
Good job. Now, their official name was Squadron S, but they started calling themselves the Suicide Squadron because of their high mortality rate. Now, Rick Flag Sr., he was brought in as their leader, and he changed them from basically a military disgrace into an elite combat unit.
Yay, well done.
Yep.
Well done.
And
Rick
they
Flag.
were also active during the Korean War.
Okay.
Now, there is a Suicide Squad retcon here.
Already.
Oh, there are retcons aplenty in this. Sometimes I'll bring them up to your attention. Other times I won't.
Okay.
This one I will.
Okay.
There appears to have been a second unofficial Suicide Squad during World War II.
What?
Led by Sergeant Rock.
Oh.
Very famous Joe Kubert soldier character. Sergeant Rock was enlisted by the Unknown Soldier, also a very famous DC Weird War Tales character, to lead a team of expendable men taken out of military prison during World War II. The team was successful in assassinating a character known as Iron Major, who is basically a supervillain Nazi.
Okay. Your Captain Marvel type villain.
Now, writer Jeb Stewart decided to revive the team, Suicide Squad, in The Brave and the Bold and make them led by Flag's son, Rick Flag Jr. I briefly mentioned that in that little introduction I did.
Yes.
The new version of the Suicide Squad also included astrophysicist Hugh Evans, nuclear physicist Jess Bright, and combat medic Karen Grace.
Okay.
Karen Grace's name will be important later on, so remember that.
Karen Grace.
Each member was a lone survivor of a horrible tragedy, willing to sacrifice themselves for others or their other teammates as they had done for them. Now, Rick and Karen Grace were in love, but they kept their feelings secret because Hugh Evans and Jess Bright, the other two members, also loved Karen. So every dude on this team loved Karen.
Well, that tends to happen.
Yeah, there you go. And as you haven't figured out right now, Rick Flag Jr. is the Rick Flag that you will later see in the movie Suicide Squad.
I would have assumed so, yes.
Now, they haven't said his name is Junior, but that is the typical Rick Flag that you generally see with the Amanda Waller Suicide Squad.
Great.
So there you go. Now, this Suicide Squad, the three dudes that love one woman,
Yep.
they flew around the country in a special plane with a highly advanced laboratory, and they, of course, it was piloted by Flag. Their first mission was destroying the prehistoric red wave beast. Now, he's basically a big red dinosaur with a horn in his head.
Yes.
Yep. And they flew it into orbit. They flew the red wave beast into orbit with a rocket. They returned to Earth, and they were shrunk by cosmic rays and used this temporary size to destroy an enemy's nuclear base.
Great.
And then they did a whole bunch of other missions.
Okay.
But their final mission was investigating a temple in Cambodia,
Okay.
where they encountered a Yeti.
Like from Canada?
Well, it's also in Asia, too. White Bigfoot.
Okay.
Now, Rick Flag was injured, and the others then learned during the mission that Karen was in love with Rick Flag because she went to his side when he was injured, right?
Sure.
Bright and Evans, the other two dudes, were so angry that they threatened to leave the team.
Oh, we're going to leave because you don't want to kiss our faces.
Yep. But despite this, they still risked their lives to cover Karen and Rick during their escape.
Well, that's nice.
Yes.
Good soldiers.
The Yeti attacked them both, sending Bright and Evans falling to their deaths. And Stewart later told Flag that the team would have been disbanded to budget cuts anyway, so it didn't matter that two of his teammates died.
Bye, girl, bye.
It was later revealed that Evans died on impact, but Bright landed on the Yeti and survived. Yetis are soft.
Well, Bumbles bounce, so I'm not surprised.
Yep. And Bright swore revenge on Flag for leaving him behind.
Okay.
And now that we got all those old Suicide Squads out of the way, it's time to talk about the modern Suicide Squad, the one that everybody remembers, the one that the movie's probably going to steal the most from.
Great.
Now, all of the modern Suicide Squad started in Legends number 3 in the 80s. Now, Legends is this miniseries event where basically Darkseid believes that he can invade Earth if he can just kill all the legends that inspire the Earth.
Okay.
Okay? In this storyline, the Suicide Squad files of the World War II teams And the Rick Flag team was discovered by Amanda Waller, a congressional aide who wanted to revive the program using imprisoned supervillains.
Okay.
Waller built a new Task Force X, and Rick Flag volunteered, the Rick Flag from before, to work underneath her. Bronze Tiger was enlisted for security. They then recruited the assassin Deadshot, Floyd Lawton, out of prison, and the rest of the experimental team included Blockbuster, who later became a Nightwing villain, Captain Boomerang, this Australian Flash villain, and Enchantress, basically a crazy witch.
Basically Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, but crazier. But she's like possessed by the spirit of her person, basically. Their first mission was successful, and they destroyed the monster Brimstone, but Blockbuster died in the process.
Aww.
Waller tried to keep her prisoners captive for longer, but Rick Flag insisted on releasing them as they had promised. Boomerang went on a crime spree and was later captured and was promised to be executed on live television by G. Gordon Godfrey, who was actually working for Darkseid.
Okay.
Task Force X was forced to rescue Boomerang when he threatened to reveal their existence because they were supposed to be classified.
Yep.
And Waller tried to have Deadshot assassinate Boomerang, but Flag figured out a way to solve the situation non-lethally.
That's nice of him.
In the aftermath of those events, Waller presented her case personally to President Reagan. Yeah, President Reagan, hello, Ronald. And he decided to let them continue on a provisional basis.
Well, that was kind of him.
Now, after this began the first volume of Suicide Squad, written by modern Sqaud creator John Ostrander. It was launched in 1987 and lasted for 66 monthly issues. If you want to read any of the Suicide Squad, this is the title to read, as I will get back to in recommended reading.
Great.
Now, Amanda Waller sets up Task Force X operations in Louisiana's Belle Reve prison. And Waller wants to put together a new team to stop this organization called the Jihad, which is basically a terrorist organization. Her team includes Bronze Tiger, Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, Enchantress, Karen Grace, remember her from Rick Flag as their combat medic, Mindboggler, who was an enemy of Firestorm that looks like a punk rocker, just forget her.
Great.
And Plastique, who is the explosive blast lady that we have seen on the Flash TV show, and also Rick Flag as their field leader. So you can kind of see that it's pretty much the movie team with just some changes.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Now, there's nothing notable about the beginning mission except for the fact that Plastique during the mission tries to betray the team, and they later mind wipe her to forget that the Suicide Squad ever existed.
Okay.
Sometime after this mission, they tell all the criminals that you can't commit crime, right? And the more missions you do for us, the better chance you're going to have a parole, but you can die, whatever. So Captain Boomerang doesn't like this arrangement. So he begins posing as Mirror Master in public to commit petty crimes on the side. And we'll get back to that later.
Okay.
Soon, President Reagan, asks them to take down the rogue hero Firestorm. And Rick Flag recruits several Firestorm enemies, including some of these names will sound familiar. Killer Frost, Multiplex, and movie Suicide Squad member Slipknot.
Interesting.
The mission is complicated when their corrupt NSC liaison, so they have a liaison to the government. His name is Derek Tolliver.
Okay.
He releases the uncontrollable parasite into downtown Manhattan.
That's not very nice.
Which quickly escalated the whole situation into a large battle between Firestorm and Firehawk, the Justice League, Parasite, and the Suicide Squad.
Wow.
Now, Parasite knocks out both teams by stealing their powers. Then Firestorm defeats Parasite and escapes.
Okay.
So there you go.
Everything is okay again.
Now, just to let you know, this is the 80s Justice League, not the Justice League that we think of.
Okay.
Okay. This is a non-Superman, non-Batman, non-Wonder Woman Justice League.
Yes.
Okay. That will become important later.
Okay.
The government tells Waller for their next mission to rescue Zoya Trigorin, a political prisoner in the Soviet Union.
Sure.
She enlists the Penguin, Oswald Cobblepot. Remember way back in our Geek History lesson about Penguin, we said that he was a member of the Suicide Squad.
I do remember.
This is why.
Great.
So the Penguin is supposed to plan their dangerous mission behind enemy lines. Their mission is complicated when Trigorin wishes to remain in Russia, and Enchantress goes crazy and goes on a rampage.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Deadshot takes down Enchantress with a gunshot, but the Russian military is alerted to the presence. They try to escape Russia by stealing the clothes of tourists, and they're almost caught again, but then there's a big fight, and they actually escape.
Okay.
So, I will say that Enchantress going crazy might come up in the movie. Just throwing that out there.
It seems like she's really good at mucking up what they're supposed to be doing.
That's what a lot of the Suicide Squad members do. They're good for one thing, and most of them muck things up.
Great.
Okay. Waller enlists Mark Shaw, the privateer, who's this character, who actually will later fight Rick Flag over Karen's affections. Because at this point, Flag has grown increasingly unstable.
Okay.
He's kind of he has some mood swings.
He's getting a little old, getting a little crazy.
He's getting long in the tooth. He's not the friendliest of guys, okay? So actually, Amanda Waller relieves him of field command of the Suicide Squad.
Bet he doesn't like that.
Yep. And she promotes Bronze Tiger, a criminal. Now, Madame Xanadu, a DC mystical character with a big witch hat, examines Enchantress and gives the Suicide Squad a way to control her. But Madame Xanadu explains, Madame Xanadu later joins the Shadow Pact as another DC team. Fun fact. Madame Xanadu explains that her method of controlling the Enchantress will just make the Enchantress much more dangerous if she ever figures out a way to get around it or gets released.
So it's kind of a catch-22 in and of itself, whether it's even worth controlling her.
Exactly.
That's a very interesting narrative device. I like that a lot.
Now, Task Force X gains 2 new civilian members, Spiritual Guide Father Kramer and Chief Prison Guard Murph.
Jesus.
Now, Mark Shaw, the privateer, he quits the Suicide Squad to go freelance, and he's replaced by a mysterious woman called Duchess, who volunteers her services to the Suicide Squad.
Great.
Soon after this, Batman infiltrates Belle Reve prison and uncovers the files on the Suicide Squad.
Ooh, dun dun dun.
He threatens to expose Amanda Waller. So she threatens to expose his secret identity using the fingerprints of Matches Malone, his famous alias.
Yes.
Because of this, Batman is forced to leave. Now, this is a very famous scene. It's parodied it's not parodied, it's homaged in the Justice League cartoon.
It is. Awesomely.
And it also is a great cover because it's her pointing at Batman. Soon, Rick Flag Jr. is promoted back to field leader, and Speedy and Vixen join the Suicide Squad. Who are Speedy and Vixen, Ashley?
Speedy is Roy Harper.
Yep.
I'm assuming it's the Roy Harper version. He is the protege to Green Arrow. And Vixen is Mari McCabe, and she is imbued with the spirit of animals.
Yep. And if you remember from her lesson, we talked about her time with the Suicide Squad as well.
We did.
A little bit of crossover to past episodes.
There you go.
Now, Speedy and Vixen join the team. They go undercover in Colombia to take down drug kingpin Xavier Cujo.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, you should remember that's from our Vixen episode.
It's all coming back to me now.
During this fight, Vixen succumbs to her animal tendencies and kills the drug pin Cujo, and then joins the Suicide Squad permanently to punish herself.
That's right.
Yep.
She's got that guilt going on.
Speedy thinks this whole thing is screwed up and just quits.
Good for him.
Yep.
Well done, Roy. Good life choice.
Now, soon, Rick Flag disobeys Amanda Waller and takes the Suicide Squad on an unauthorized mission to rescue Nemesis. Now, Nemesis is Thomas Tresser. He's an undercover member of the Suicide Squad that has been in some of these previous storylines that I've mentioned, but he hasn't been that important. He's also an ally of Batman's.
Okay, great.
Okay. So, he's in Russia.
Okay.
Right? Waller is furious and has President Reagan. I'm President Reagan. Hello.
Man, President Reagan features very heavily in Suicide.
Well, I tell you, my friends, if I'm going to approve of a squad, it's going to be suicidal.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Gorbachev, bring down this wall.
Or I'll send my Suicide Squad after you.
The Suicide Squad will kill you. Probably shoot you in that big thingy on your head. The mark.
It's not polite to point that out.
President Reagan. Okay. President Reagan sends the Justice League International to stop them because now the Justice League International exists.
Great.
The Bwahaha team.
My favorite.
Yep. The two teams fight each other, Suicide Squad and Justice League International, and then they both realize that they're trying to save Nemesis because, of course, Batman and Rick Flag,
Sure.
are friends with the guy. But Batman and Rick Flag have to be physically restrained to stop them from punching each other in the face.
That sounds about right.
The Suicide Squad is allowed to leave, but Nemesis is transported to custody in the Justice League Embassy, where he actually later escapes.
Okay.
And Waller threatens the Justice League International's publicist, Maxwell Lord, to make sure that he doesn't expose the squad. Because at this point, the Suicide Squad is not a public fact.
Yes.
Nobody in the public knows that there is a team of supervillains out there.
I love that they have a publicist, though, and that it's Maxwell Lord.
Yep. Senator Cray blackmails the Suicide Squad into helping his re-election campaign by threatening to expose their existence.
So they go and like stump for him and put up signs in people's lawns
Well,
and stuff?
just other things like that.
Yeah.
But Derek Tolliver, remember I mentioned him
Yes,
earlier?
you did.
Because of this, he is placed in charge of Amanda Waller by a reluctant President Reagan.
Oh, President Reagan once again.
Yeah, Amanda Waller, just Derek Tolliver guy.
I don't think so.
Soon, Sqaud the Changing Man joins the Suicide Squad. Who is that, Ashley?
He's a Starman character.
Sort of.
Well,
No, you're thinking of a different Sqaud the Changing Man.
Oh, well, that's the only one that I know.
No, Sqaud the Changing Man is Rack Shade, R-A-C.
Oh.
He uses the illusion-creating and body-defending illegal invest that he has from another dimension that is called the Meta Zone. And that is the simplest explanation of Sqaud the Changing Man you'll ever get.
Great.
So there you go. And if you like simple explanations, then you should help support Geek History Lesson, everybody out there, because if you lovely people go over to patreon.com/Jawiin and support us over there, it's the only way that we can contain the criminals of podcasting, like server costs and research time. And of course, you can get your own perks for your support over there, like our Patreon exclusive podcast, Geek History Lesson Extra, where Ashley and I have intense, criminally insane conversations about all kinds of topics. So the next time you wonder, how can I help my GHL professors out and keep them out of prison? Well, head on over to patreon.com/Jawiin and support the show for as little as $1 a month, because it makes a big difference for keeping all the criminals trapped in Bell Rev and these podcasts rolling on out to you. So thank you for all your support.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And now back to Sqaud the Changing Man.
Yes.
Now, Sqaud warns the Suicide Squad that his old enemy, Dr. ZZ,
Dr. ZZ?
yep, is trying to take over the Earth.
Great.
So they go on a mission to stop ZZ with new recruit Captain Cold.
Oh.
Yeah. And
We know
during
him. He's a guy with a gun.
and during the mission, Rick Flag shoots ZZ dead.
Great.
And Sqaud the Changing Man becomes a permanent member of the Suicide Squad, and he agrees to stay with the team as long as they'll help him find a way home back to his meta zone,
Great.
his home dimension.
That seems as good a reason as any.
Yep, good enough. Task Force X also adds 2 new civilians, Mitch Sqaud, who is in charge of vehicle maintenance, and scientist Yvonne Callender. Now, if you're wondering why I keep mentioning these civilians, it's because they're not really important to the overall story, but they have a lot of interactions with the team, and that's something that the John Ostrander book does very well, is that they're like, this is a governmental organization. There's a bureaucracy to this. There's a support staff to this. And these criminals interact with this stuff. So it's the juxtaposition of, for some people, this is a normal government job. And then, there's Captain Boomerang.
That's also a really interesting way to offset it from any other organizations like the Justice League or the Batman family that basically operate under their own resources.
That's the reason why this run is so stellar, and the reason why the Suicide Squad is anything is because at the time there was nothing like this. You know those beats in the Ultimates where you're like kind of dealing with the bureaucracy of Nick Fury and stuff like that?
Yeah.
They took it from this book.
Oh, sneaky.
Yeah, this book did that 20 years earlier.
Nice.
So there you go.
Well done, Mr. Ostrander.
Okay, so I just want to mention these civilians, but they're not really important to the overall story. But they have scenes that are really cool.
Cool.
All right.
Cool.
So soon, Captain Boomerang's alter ego master, Mirror Master, gets captured. Remember how I said earlier he was going out there and doing crimes? And Captain Boomerang, dressed as Mirror Master, gets assigned to the Suicide Squad.
I hope that happens in the movie so bad.
Yep. Both of them are sent on a mission to take out the LOA crime organization, and Captain Boomerang tries to pull off this elaborate farce that he's both people.
So it's like the sitcom where the guy has a date with 2 girls at the same restaurant and he keeps going to the bathroom?
It's Three's Company, except Jack tries to kill people.
Great. That's a great pitch.
Soon this is revealed to be a prank by Waller, who knew that Captain Boomerang was Mirror Master and just wanted to embarrass him.
Good for her.
So then their liaison, Derek Tolliver, remember him?
I do.
He orders Waller to kill Senator Cray's competitor.
All right.
Yep. But Waller gets Tolliver to back down by using Checkmate to blackmail him. Now, Checkmate is another secret organization that is throughout the DC universe.
Yeah.
Now, Rick Flag visits Derek Tolliver, unaware that he is no longer a threat, and kills him.
Because that's not an overreaction in any way, shape, or form.
Waller realizes this and orders the Suicide Squad to stop Rick Flag from killing Senator Cray by any means necessary. So basically, Rick Flag was like, I'm tired of these people controlling my team. I'm just going to kill him.
And he gets a kill order put out on him in retaliation.
Yes. Now, Waller says stop Rick Flag by any means necessary.
Yeah.
And Deadshot actually gets to Senator Cray's place.
Okay.
And he realizes that he's going to have to kill Rick Flag to stop him.
Great.
But Deadshot completes the mission a little differently.
Okay.
He kills Senator Cray.
Even better.
Yep. And then he soon gets into a shootout with the police at the Lincoln Memorial.
Yeah. Great. Super.
So Deadshot is shot many times, but he survives.
Oh, that's lucky.
But despite these efforts, and because of the murder, the police find a press release about the Suicide Squad in Tolliver's office. And this press release is set to the Daily Planet. And the existence of the Suicide Squad is revealed to the public.
So all that murder and all that shooting was for naught.
Yeah, it's all for a press release. And just to let you know, a certain reporter with the initials LL had been investigating the Suicide Squad for months before this.
That seems appropriate to LL's character.
Can you guess who the LL character is? And if you guess Lex Luthor, you're completely wrong.
Oh, I was going to guess Lana Lang, honestly.
Not Lana Lang, Lois Lane.
Oh,
we've also done a Geekish lesson on.
Number 50.
Yeah, there you go. Very special lady, and that's why she's so important.
Indeed.
Soon there is a special Senate subcommittee investigation, and Amanda Waller is put on trial by a man called Warren Eden.
Okay.
And to improve the public opinion of the Suicide Squad, Waller sends them to rescue an American nun imprisoned on foreign soil.
Okay.
Their mission is successful.
Yay!
And the Suicide Squad actually gains a lot of public support.
And they're like, look, just ignore the name. And
well, because a lot of it is that like, look, they kill people, but look, they saved the nun.
Yeah.
Look, hey, government.
Wow, you got real thug government people.
New Yorker. No, I was a person on the street.
Oh,
New Yorker.
okay.
Like, hey, let them kill the people. Oh, hey.
You got a pizza place?
I do have a pizza place. It's called Jack's. What you got wrong with it? Oh, hey. Yeah, I love The Sopranos. Oh. I don't know where we're going with this. All right. So because of the public support, Eden turns the Suicide Squad into a legitimate government agency. No longer classified, no longer deep black case files.
They're all in the books. They're all reporting to the IRS.
But Amanda Waller is replaced in her position by a man named Jack Kale. And now you may think this is a bad thing, but it is soon revealed that Jack Kale is actually an actor who was hired by Amanda to secretly puppet control the Suicide Squad.
Okay.
Never count Amanda Waller out.
I would never.
And I actually think there were going to be a lot of overtones of that in the movie as well.
That would be really cool.
Now, Deadshot, remember he's arrested and he's severely shot, but he avoids arrest with an insanity plea and is soon sent to Arkham Asylum.
Oh, that's terrible.
Rick Flag leaves the country to avoid arrest and decides to redeem himself by finishing and killing the Jihad. Remember that team from the very first arc?
I do.
Now, in the process of this, he takes them out, but he's killed.
Aww.
And so Rick Flag Jr. is dead.
Bye.
Yep. And soon the squad changes leadership a couple more times, and because of all the stuff and the controversy, Amanda is sent to prison for a year. 1 year after her arrest, she's released from prison because the Suicide Squad is needed again to handle a politically sensitive mission in Vlatavia.
Okay.
And Vlatava, excuse me, home of Count Vertigo.
Sure. If you say so.
Yep. Is intending to spark open... Now, I'm sorry with this name. Fake countries are the worst. Vlatava sparks an open war with Russia.
Okay.
And, of course, as I said, Count Vertigo is against this. Waller agrees to help under several conditions.
Of course she does. She never comes without conditions.
Exactly. She never count the wall out, right?
Definitely.
She says that the squad must become an international freelance organization, basically mercenaries, that no longer takes or receives support from the U.S. government. So no more orders from the U.S. government.
Okay.
Their price will be $1 million per mission plus expenses.
Yeah, but they're on W-9, so you got to put like 50% of that away for taxes.
And her first recruit is Batman, who is investigating a homicide related to the revolution in Vlatava. Now, Batman actually helps Waller re-recruit Bronze Tiger, Captain Boomerang, Poison Ivy.
I didn't know Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
That's a great addition.
And Vixen. And together they go over there, they defuse the situation, and then Batman is able to use some evidence to arrest conspiracy members back in America.
Now I'm sad that Poison Ivy's not on the movie team.
Yeah, right? That would be a really great way to introduce her.
It would.
Well, we already have Batman, Villain, Killer Croc, so we're all good.
Well, and Harley Quinn.
Now, the second Thinker, who is a DC villain of not much note, so I'm not going to really go into his history because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He begins targeting a person called Oracle. Now, Simon LeGrieve calls in a favor with Waller and basically asks her to take out the Thinker for free. The Thinker finds Oracle's location, but Amanda Waller gets there in time and stops him. And because of this, Amanda Waller offers Oracle a permanent job with the Sqaud, and Oracle agrees because she saved her life. Now, Ashley, for the people that don't know, who is Oracle?
Oracle is Barbara Gordon post the events of The Killing Joke when she's in a wheelchair.
Now, what happened in The Killing Joke?
She got shot in the spine.
Yes, so she lost these her legs. She's no longer Batgirl.
And interestingly enough, by putting her in the wheelchair and making her an information-based character, she becomes the most powerful character and the most knowledgeable character in the DC universe.
She's a computer hacker and basically the information broker for all the heroes.
Yes, especially the Justice League.
This was Oracle's first appearance.
Yes, it was.
In Suicide Squad. Now, did you know that Amanda Waller liked Barbara Gordon so much that she made Oracle her second in command of the Suicide Squad?
I did know that because we taught a geek history lesson on Barbara Gordon.
Cool. Just checking in.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Now, the Suicide Squad series, the great series, concludes with a story arc from issue 63 to 66.
Okay.
In which the Suicide Squad travels to another fake country that I'm going to attempt to pronounce, Diablo Verde.
Sure.
Diablo Verde, basically devil.
Green Devil?
Green Devil. It's an island near the Bermuda Triangle.
Perfect.
They try to dispose a seemingly invulnerable and invincible dictator calling himself Guide. I don't know how to say these fake names. Who actually has his own personal bodyguards, a group of villains calling themselves the Suicide Squad.
That's interesting.
Yep. Insulted by a rival team usurping their name, Amanda Waller accepts the mission to Diablo Verde at the price of 1 peso.
That's not very many pesos.
No, it's not a lot. So during the mission, the Suicide Squad faces the other Suicide Squad, who the actual Suicide Squad beats. And at the end of the storyline, Amanda Waller tricks the despot into a form of suicide.
In keeping with the name. I see.
Before each of the Suicide Squad members travel through the mystical jungle to the fortress in the storyline, they seemingly face all of their personal demons and past storylines.
So you're kind of wrapping it up.
Yep.
I see.
Except for Deadshot, who the creative team makes a point of showing that he's seemingly unaffected or just doesn't care.
That seems about right.
And then also Poison Ivy, who is not shown facing her fears, but actually more of a concern for how her nylons are going to be ruined.
Oh, that's too bad.
And at the end of the storyline, Amanda Waller disbands the Suicide Squad and the series ends.
The end.
Yep. Except we're now going to touch on some of the other teams, Suicide Squads, briefly, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the New 52 team, because at this point forward, the Suicide Squad just basically becomes plot devices. So I'm not going to talk about every single Suicide Squad because there were some I skipped because they just appear for like 2 pages and they take a criminal away and they disappear.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about the Suicide Squad's appearance in an issue called Superboy number 13. You might remember from previous in the podcast.
Yes.
Amanda Waller puts together a new Suicide Squad to take down the Silicon Dragons cartel in Hawaii. The field leader is called Sam Makoa, and their members include Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, King Shark, this is King Shark,
wow,
Knockout, and Sidearm. Now, Superboy, Con-El, volunteers to help them, and they travel underwater to the cartel's ocean base. And Lady Dragon sends Stinger to kill them. They battle Stinger, and they escape. Sidearm betrays the team, but then he is killed later by King Shark. That's why I didn't explain who he was, because he's killed by King Shark. And Lady Dragon captures Superboy and challenges him to single combat. And it is also later revealed that Captain Boomerang is working for Lady Dragon. So Deadshot tries to kill Boomerang by shooting his hands while he's hanging upside down from a ledge. And Superboy rescues Boomerang, but his throwing hands are destroyed.
Okay.
There you go.
Tragic.
Then after this, Amanda Waller and Director Bones, who is the skeleton-faced character who is the leader of the DEO,
yes,
who is now making an appearance in Supergirl, they put together a new Suicide Squad when Earth is threatened by Imperiex in the Our Worlds at War storyline. Now, if I remember, I told you in the previous podcast, Imperiex is basically a godlike Galactus type character that Superman fights.
Yes.
Now we're going to move on to one of my favorite DC series of all time, 52.
52.
The Suicide Squad appearance in 52.
Everyone appears in 52.
Not everybody. Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman don't.
Well, everybody besides the Trinity.
There you go. Now, in 52, Black Adam, who is the evil Captain Marvel, basically, he begins gaining political power in the Middle East when several countries adopt his Freedom of Power Treaty.
Okay.
The Americans still view Black Adam as a terrorist, and so Amanda Waller has Atom Smasher, who is Nuklon and Infinity, a member of the JSA, Black Adam's old friend. She has Atom Smasher build a team to stop his friend. This new team includes the second Captain Boomerang, who is the first Boomerang's son.
Who has hands.
Yep. Count Vertigo, as I mentioned earlier. The Electrocutioner, who's a character that just shocks stuff.
That's a great name.
Persuader, and Plastique again.
Okay.
Now, Black Adam at this time had been rehabilitated because of his new Black Marvel family. And the Suicide Squad attacks him in Kandak. The Persuader threatens to kill Isis, who is Black Adam's wife, and Osiris, who is Black Adam's son, is so scared that he accidentally kills Persuader.
Oh, no.
They fail to arrest Black Adam, but Waller says that she got what she needed. It is later shown that Waller got video footage of the murder, which is enough to ruin the Black Marvel's political representation.
Well, there you go.
There you go. And that's all you need. You know what I'm saying?
Perfect.
This battle also convinced Bronze Tiger to rejoin Amanda Waller and work for her again.
They're so on again, off again.
They are. And it was during this time that Waller told Bronze Tiger that Rick Flag Jr. is still alive.
Wait, what?
Yeah. And in a future story, Bronze Tiger rescues Rick Flag Jr. from a prison where he somehow had been alive all along. And it's best to just completely ignore this storyline because...
Consider it done. Because comics.
Yeah. And then we get to the New 52, which is created by Flashpoint. Explain the New 52 and Flashpoint in 3 sentences, Ashley.
Well, Flashpoint is Barry Allen misses his mom, so he goes back in time. He resets everything so that there's only 2 Earths and everybody has really redesigned costumes. And everyone's only been their super selves for like 5 years.
That's right. We're in a whole new continuity. We have a whole new Suicide Squad. And Suicide Squad is launched with a brand new #1 issue. Now, Amanda Waller, no longer the Wall. She's kind of a bigger lady, right? Mm-hmm. Not anymore. She's skinny and she's like supermodel hot.
Yeah, and it's really kind of, I don't like that change.
All right, here we go. Here's the new origin of the Suicide Squad.
Okay.
After a botched governmental mission forces her to execute an injured teammate, Amanda Waller sets out to assemble an expendable field team, prompting the formation of a new Suicide Squad. Now, this is the only Suicide Squad in New 52 continuity. There was no World War II team. There was no Rick Flag team.
Yes.
Okay. Waller forces dozens of Bell Rev's death row inmates into a series of rigorous tests and torture scenarios to evaluate their loyalty and value as squad members. The finalists include Deadshot, King Shark, and Harley Quinn. This is the first time that Harley Quinn had ever been on the Suicide Squad.
Yes.
They are then outfitted with microbomb implants and inducted into the Suicide Squad. Now, the Suicide Squad's missions typically involve the elimination or retrieval of high-value targets, such as the recovery of a newborn baby who carries the cure to a deadly viral outbreak. And at one point, the team was actually tracked down an AWOL Harley Quinn in another mission. In another mission, the squad goes after character Resurrection Man. They go after a terrorist group called the Basilisk Terrorist Group, which actually kind of seems very similar to the Jihad organization from the original John Ostrander series.
They're just like, we'll give it a Harry Potter name. It'll be fine.
And several issues delve into the twisted relationship between Harley Quinn and the Joker.
Yes.
Again, first time the Joker had anything to do with the Suicide Squad. Eventually, Waller recruits serial killer James Gordon Jr., the son of Jim Gordon, Batman commissioner, to act as Bell Rev's in-house psychiatric advisor. But unbeknownst to her, Jim Gordon Jr. develops a twisted infatuation with Amanda Waller. And one ongoing unresolved plot point from this series involves the Samsara Serum, which is a medical treatment that the Bell Rev's doctors use to resurrect dead squad members.
Okay.
This includes Deadshot and Voltiac. So they have a serum now that they can keep bringing people back to life. I would not be surprised if that shows up in the movie as well.
You postulate that?
Yep.
They got their own Red Witch.
It is eventually discovered that the serum will permanently kill anyone that it is administered to. So it's kind of a little weird. So it could resurrect the dead members, but you're always going to be dead.
Right.
So, and it is heavily implied, yet not confirmed, that Amanda Waller is one of these subjects. Then there is The New Suicide Squad, a relaunch title in the New 52 in 2014 by writer Sean Ryan and artist Jeremy Roberts, which sees Deadshot and Harley Quinn teaming up with new squad members Black Manta, Joker's daughter, Reverse Flash, and Deathstroke. Amanda Waller's no longer on the team. Now, Deathstroke is eventually the leader, but then he quickly turns on his teammates in the following issue. And then we come to DC Rebirth, which is going to have a brand new squad as well, and it is very similar to the movie lineup.
Cool.
Now on to other media. Of course, there's the Suicide Squad movie written and directed by David Ayer. And the Suicide Squad also appears in an animated Justice League Unlimited series episode called Task Force X. The squad is called this during the entire episode because of concerns of using the word suicide for children's television. So they're never called the Suicide Squad.
It is the same way that in the original Teen Titans TV show, he's not called Deathstroke. He's called Slade.
Now, during the episode, the team breaks onto the Watchtower and they're stealing stuff. And I actually think it is one of the best episodes of Justice League ever.
It's a very good episode.
The team is Plastique, Deadshot, Clock King, Captain Boomerang, and led by Rick Flag Jr., who's voiced by Adam Baldwin.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. The Suicide Squad has also appeared in Smallville and Arrow.
Yes.
And then that is the entire lesson of the Suicide Squad.
Good job.
There you go. So I hope that gets you prepped for the movie. Let's move on into recommended reading.
Yes, where Professor Jason will recommend things for you to read. You can find all of these and so much more over on geekhistorylesson.com/recommended reading. We have little Amazon widgets. You click on those, you buy the thing, and a little bit comes back to keep Jason and I under wraps.
Yes, and keep us from going to prison.
Exactly.
Debtor's prison. But there you go. Number one is, of course, I hit heavy the John Ostrander series. Suicide Squad Volume 1 Trial by Fire. It's a trade paperback that collects issues 1 through 8 of the John Ostrander series. It's in print. DC is starting to collect the old John Ostrander series, and there are a couple volumes in. That's the first volume, came out last year. I'm going to continue down this train. Suicide Squad Volume 2, The Nightshade Odyssey, which is Volume 2 of the John.
What a great title.
It's based on her character. The John Ostrander series. Again, buy them all. It is a great series. If you're going to read, it's also on Comixology. If you're going to read the Suicide Squad, the John Ostrander is great. And I have a feeling you're going to read Volume 1 and you're going to want to hop right to Volume 2. It's a little dated, but it's not so dated that you can't enjoy it.
Great. Just like your Killing Joke.
Yep. And then I think the best Suicide Squad of the New 52 is the New Suicide Squad Volume 1, Pure Insanity, simply for the fact that it's very interesting to have Deathstroke on the team.
Great.
So there you go. Ashley, let's move on into discussion.
Where we will discuss things.
Ashley, I have a very simple question for you.
I hopefully have a very simple answer.
Do you like that the DC Universe has a team like the Suicide Squad? Because it is something that is so unlike the other teams. And also, it is something that really doesn't exist in the Marvel Universe until the Thunderbolts. So DC beat Marvel with a team of villains aspect working for the government by, I would say, 15 years.
I would say, though, that I think the Suicide Squad, even in its original incarnation, is much darker than the Thunderbolts ever gets. I'm of two minds with my answer.
Sure, because you don't like bad people. We found that out.
Right. I'm not a villains person. So me personally, I'm sort of neutral on whether I think it's a super great idea that they have a team of a bunch of bad people. But I think that from the standpoint of all kinds of comics for all kinds of people, you have a lot of really interesting characters that aren't being utilized outside of this incarnation. You want to do a lot of dynamic and different kinds of storytelling and celebrate that. I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
I think it is the best comics incarnation of the quote bad guy team that we have running around. I think that the new balance, the new team that they have, that's obviously tying more into the movie, where you have really important and iconic characters like Joker and Harley Quinn tied with lesser known characters that are prominently featured here, I think is a great idea. I think it's a great way to highlight characters, but also not just make it like the B squad or the C squad, if you want to think about it in those kind of terms. So yeah, I think it's a great idea that it's around. I think DC does it better than Marvel does. but am I ever going to read it? I don't necessarily know.
Interesting. Let me ask you this question. How do you feel about Suicide Squad being really the second movie in the DC cinematic universe over like Wonder Woman, over Justice League, over I would even say The Flash? Like, it is movie number 2 of the DC cinematic universe. Like, do you feel that that's justified? Do you think that's a little weird? I mean, that's a pretty strong role. Like, because think about it. Well, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it was Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, and then it was Thor, right? Am I wrong about
Hulk
that?
and then Thor?
Oh, well, yeah, I forget about Hulk. So let's not count Hulk.
Okay. Yeah, then it was
Thor.
Then it was Captain America, then it was Thor.
I was pretty sure that Thor was before Captain America.
I don't know.
I'm pretty certain. I will double check.
Okay.
But what do you think about the prominence? Because that's a pretty important role.
It is. Again, I don't know if it's a decision that, like, it's a decision that's definitely not made for me, but
It was Thor. Thor beat Captain America.
well, there you go. I think that if you're trying to make your superhero cinematic universe that is expansive and you're trying to not do what Marvel did, then it's a really great idea to be like, look, we have 2 stories that are going to be very different tonally. We have 2 totally different sets of characters. You don't like what's being done over here? Why not check this out? I think it's a very, very smart move. Again, I think it's very smart to include the Joker and Harley Quinn. And yeah, we're getting it before Wonder Woman. And yeah, I would really rather see a Wonder Woman movie. But if everything that is being out in the press and the photos and the trailers is true, this is going to be a female-led movie.
It is.
So I have no problem with that. And if this spins off the Harley Quinn movie or like the Harley Quinn and the Gotham Sirens movie, so much the better as far as I'm concerned.
All right, great. That's all I got for a discussion.
Great.
Let's move on into the teaching tweet.
Where in 140 characters or less, Professor Jason will summarize everything that he just taught us.
Suicide Squad. If the Justice League are the Pantheon, then the Suicide Squad are the Spartans, an army willing to do whatever it takes. That's it.
That's very deep.
I mean, I didn't know how to really describe the Suicide Squad because I'd be like, your leaders change a lot.
Yeah. No, I like that. I think that's a very interesting summation.
Well, if you listen to our best JLA ever, you know what I think about the Justice League, and I think that the DC Universe is very mythology to me. It's all about mythology, and I was trying to think who are the Suicide Squad, and the only place I could put them would be the Spartans.
Lovely.
So there you go. All right, that is it for this Geek History lesson on the Suicide Squad. Guys, don't forget to go on to iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, and subscribe to the show. And guys, please go over to iTunes, Stitcher too, and SoundCloud, and leave us a review because it really helps other listeners find the show just like you. I know we stress this every week, but leaving a review makes the biggest difference.
It does.
On our listenership. And I'm going to read this review by John Hazard. And he left us on iTunes, and he said, I didn't know who Deadpool or Psylocke were, and I wanted to know before seeing the movies. Thanks to Ashley and Jason, I know everything I needed to know about heroes I never saw before and old favorites I wanted to revisit. Fun, informative, and fun.
Yay! I'm so glad that we could help out.
So there you go. So please go over and leave us a review because it makes a huge difference. And it's probably, besides supporting us on Patreon, the biggest way you can help support the Mind University.
Exactly.
All right. So if you want to suggest this future lessons like, let's say, Killer Croc, let's say Deadshot.
King Shark.
Let's say King Shark. Where can they do that, Ashley?
Well, you can do that at geekhistorylesson.com or facebook.com/geekhistorylesson. There is a myriad of ways to contact us at both places.
And I just want to really quick thanks again to the students who suggested Suicide Squad, Zach Denton, Beardo Manser, David Zachary Luftig? It's David German. Zachary Luftig. Oh, excuse me, I hit my mic. And Dancing Nerd King.
Way to be great TAs.
There you go. As always, you can complain to us on Twitter about your prison sentences at Jawiin, Jawiin for me, and Ashley V. Robinson for Ashley. Thank you all for listening to this Geek History lesson on the Suicide Squad. I'm Jason Harley Inman.
I am Ashley Victoria Robinson. And Warden Jason, would you please dismiss us?
All prisoners come out of your cell. All prisoners turn around. All prisoners will submit to searches for contraband. All prisoners walk back in your cell. Geek History lesson over.